Call me crazy if you want, but I've never liked store-bought pesto. I don't know why. I think it's because it never has enough.
Susie, that's so crazy, but let me tell you my story, okay, girl? So this one time, these three countries decided to get together, right? And they saw that there was this one space of land that had oodles and caboodles of natural resources, and it was a substitute for some of the things that they were looking to build, right? And it turns out a lot of people in separate countries, they actually wanted the things that they wanted to build, except they didn't have any resources or any money to get this stuff done. So what did they do? They went to this country where they knew for a fact this country, they typically didn't like people that looked exactly like the people that lived in this particular plot of land. They knew that the people who lived there, they didn't like people that looked of a much darker shade, a more sable shade. But it turned out that they had the money and the resources, even though their ideologies were very toxic, extremely dangerous, and could possibly lead to another world war if they actually got into bed with them. They themselves have also had these same ideologies and have been linked to several instances where they have gone to other mass forms of land, completely drained them of their resources, including like diamonds and all types of natural resources. I mean, just completely ripped through the land. So they're thinking to themselves, I mean, hey, like we've done this. Who are we to say anything? Just because they're different, a little different, we're the same shade, skin tone. So we should be able to go to them, get the money that we need in order to go to this land. And we're going to market it as we're actually civilizing the people there, even though the natives in that land, that they didn't like the people that lived on top of that land that provided the natural resources, didn't consider themselves to be savages and did not under any circumstances ask to be civilized to their terms. They still decided to go ahead and do it, right? Right. So obviously it was going to be very difficult for them to be able to pull this whole scheme off because they've done it before. They've gone to different masses of land where there's been different other people there. And usually the people there that are actually in, I want to say like political power or that have the majority of the resources are of lighter descent. So they use the same plan over and over again. And they basically sold it to the people who live there. Hey, if you do this, then we'll teach you our ways and we'll provide you with weapons because you're going to need to protect yourself. But what they really meant was you're going to need to protect yourself from us, because what we're going to do if you don't give us these natural resources, we're just going to come in and take it. But we're not going to get our hands dirty and covered in blood. We're going to put the weapons in the hands of the oppressed people that don't like you in your own land, and we're gonna make them kill you, rape your kids, rape your parents, rape everybody you know, kill everybody you know, and then we're gonna make those said people, in addition to you and all other people that were left alive after having all these travesties and just schmidt done to them, we're gonna make them go down into those dangerous conditions and get the stuff that we need, even though we don't have any plans on paying them, we don't have any plans on providing with any kind of profit. We really just want that natural resource and we feel entitled to it because we need it. I mean, why shouldn't we be able to have it if we need it, even though we didn't pay to be there, even though we didn't own that land and we're not native to that land? We deserve to have it because we feel like we deserve to have it. And how dare you tell us that we can't have it, right? Okay, hold on. So then the natives of that land are like, what? Like, you tripping for real? Because this is our land and we think that we should just leave it alone. We don't want to dig it up. We don't want to do anything crazy to it. We actually live on this land. And if you go down into that land, it will destroy the entire infrastructure and the geological structure of this land, and everything that we do on it to survive, it will destroy it. So we're asking you not to do that. And we're doing it in the most peaceful way. Will you just peacefully go away and leave us the hell alone? And they were like, no. So it turns out we have this friend that has all this money, all these weapons and massive chemical and nuclear destructive weapons. And we will do that. We will do exactly what we told you you're going to do. Not only we're going to do that, we're going to keep that land. Even when we're done with it, we're going to keep foraging it. We're going to keep killing your people, and we're going to keep turning you guys into modern day slaves because we feel like we deserve to do that. And we don't care what you think. And because we think in the back of our head that you may be crazy enough to turn around and do the same thing to us, we're going to go and we're going to do it again and again and again and again and again. And then we're going to take some of the slaves that we took years ago, which basically are your own people, and we displaced them into a whole nother continent i.e. a whole nother mass of land, America. We're going to take them, about 3,000 of them, pick them up, put them on 3 separate boats, bring them back to another massive piece of land, give them our weapons, and tell them to go nuts. Even though we've already taught them how to be savages, even though we think that you're the savages, the real savagery, you get what I'm saying. So basically what ended up happening was they did exactly that. Unfortunately, because the natives of that particular continent weren't really equipped weapon-wise, they weren't really equipped to deal with the evil powers of the people who came to that land looking for those natural resources. Unfortunately, the evil people, they actually succeeded in doing so, and they were able to kill off more than a third of the people of that land for several decades. And that's not the only place where they did that. They went to several other continents, but we're just talking about these particular 2 countries right now because you guys don't like to pay attention to these particular countries because they're this color as far as their skin. Now, as far as the people who provided them with the money to be able to do so, that would be no one other than Israel. And they did so by taking the money that they stole from other countries and all the resources that they stole from other countries and giving it to the Americans, the French, and the Canadians, as well as Great Britain. And then they all put their own money into another pot, double that so that it can do it more and more and more. They went to other continents in other countries and found out that there's also the same kind of natural resources there. Then they told other countries like, hey, like other colored countries, hey, if you do this, you'll be able to get some of that stuff. And if you just break me off a piece, I'll break you off a piece of my weapons. And they've been doing that for well over centuries. And it turns out today they're still doing that. They even went as far as to not only raping and killing children, they kept a lot of them to rape real time in order to get them to comply. And then they sent them down in there, and then they put the guns in the hands of the actual children, some of them as young as 4 years old, and made them kill actual adults, including their own parents, made them shoot in the head in front of their entire family, and then completely just wipe out their entire bloodline, leaving only that one kid alive, and then left that one kid alive to be able to tell his story. Now, a lot of those kids were actually able to make their way out of that particular land of mass because they were native. They were able to find their way to another country where they realized that their other natives from centuries and centuries ago actually lived there, and they were connected by blood. So in some way, shape, or form, they were able to make their way over to that other land of mass, but they didn't know that once they made it over to that other land of mass, it actually housed the people who created the system that caused the trouble in their land of mass. Now, what is that country called? It's called Congo. The Congo and Sudan. And who paid for that? America, Israel, Great Britain, France, Germany, Canada. All of the NATO powers knew about this, and they did absolutely nothing. If anything, they profited off of it. All of the things that you have been using in those other countries have come from that continent. When y'all say that y'all think that black people gonna create everything, it is a freaking lie, because we quite literally do. We quite literally do. We even create the medicines that heal the diseases that your people create from being dirty, and then have the audacity to get on on Beyonce's internet and tell us that you don't have to wash your chicken or your ass for a week. Are you fucking serious? Y'all been doing this in the Congo for how long? And then did your best to try and keep it quiet, even though they let out a movie. That way they could say, well, we never told y'all about that. And for those of y'all who don't know what that movie is, it's called Blood Diamond, and it's got Leonardo DiCaprio in it. Am I surprised? Absolutely not, because Leonardo DiCaprio likes to pry on children. He likes to stick his penis in barely legal girls. So it makes sense why he would actually be in that movie, because he himself is a very nasty human being. Bread. He's blood of the most evil race known to man. Yeah, I said it. You nasty ass man. So anyways, And like, do you know what happened to those babies?